750,000 jobs lost this year. Our financial system in turmoil. And John McCain, erratic in the crisis, out of touch on the economy. No wonder his campaign wants to change the subject, turn the page on the financial crisis by launching dishonest, dishonorable assaults against Barack Obama. Struggling families can't turn the page on this economy, and we can't afford another president who's this out of touch.
I'm Barack Obama, and I
said the point of all of this, we are looking forward to turning the page on this financial crisis, getting back to discussing Mr. Obama personally. Turning the page on this financial crisis?
Diane, I actually listened in on that conference call. I don't make all of...
I've been watching and studying politics, as I said, for a long time. What we're seeing here is a campaign that knows it's on a losing course, that knows it needs desperately to change the subject. I'm talking about the McCain campaign. The subject right now is the economy, and it's killing the incumbent party. If you ask someone if they like the direction this country's heading in, only a fraction, a slice of voters say, yeah, keep it up. So what do the wise guys around John McCain tell him? They tell him that he either goes at his rival personally or he loses. He needs to change the subject from, what do you think of the way things are headed in this country, to, who is this guy Barack Obama? Mystery. That's what they want to shroud Obama with, mystery. The guy's been out there in the open now for 4 years. We've been watching his every move, grabbing his every soundbite, watching everything he does in public, everything we've looked at in his public record. But that's not the point. What the geniuses around John McCain want voters to do right now is to worry about something they can't determine, could never determine from the facts. They want to create a mystery that the imaginative voter can connect, like a string of dots, from, palling around with terrorists, to his middle name, to his donor list that might just include some foreigners. They're out to say that Barack Obama is friendly to the people now threatening our country. That's the dirt. And using this technique of creating a mystery in our minds, they want the voters to throw that dirt.
Just a little over a month ago, John McCain was running even with, in some polls even slightly ahead of, Barack Obama. But then two apparently game-changing things occurred. McCain chose Governor Sarah Palin as his running mate, which according to the polls isn't working out that well. And in response to the deepening financial crisis, McCain tried a Hail Mary tactic of rushing back to Washington to demonstrate leadership, which didn't work out at all. Now with the financial crisis deepening, at midday, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down more than 550 points. And with polls showing a further shift toward the Democrats because of this crisis, McCain is trying something else, as outlined publicly on Saturday by one of his advisors, Greg Strimple. Strimple told the Washington Post, quote, "We are looking forward to turning a page on this financial crisis and getting back to discussing Mr. Obama's aggressively liberal record and how he will be too risky for Americans." And sure enough, Governor Palin has fallen to the task with a will in attempting to raise grave doubts about Senator Obama's character.
Now, it turns out one of his earliest supporters is a man named Bill Ayers. And according to the New York Times, he was a domestic terrorist and part of a group that, quote, launched a campaign of bombings that would target the...
Why do William Ayers and the Reverend Jeremiah Wright matter? The answer, we are told, has to do with Barack Obama's judgment and character. Judgment in choosing to associate with them, judgment in choosing to serve on a board with Ayers, character in choosing not to walk out on Wright's rhetoric. In our fourth story, what we learned applying this litmus test to John McCain. We told you last night about the U.S. Council for World Freedom, on whose board McCain sat for years. But while Ayers was a rehabilitated terrorist when Obama served on a board with him, what about McCain's fellow board members in the 80s? What about fellow board member Anthony Buscarin, veteran of the Pioneer Fund, a eugenics group researching white superiority, or fellow board member Jay Parker, a registered foreign agent for the apartheid government of South Africa in the late 70s. And if board co-membership is so toxic, what about McCain's list of endorsements today, including Leonore Annenberg, widow of philanthropist Walter Annenberg, who created the project on which both Ayers and Obama served? And what of Obama attending sermons by the Reverend Jeremiah Wright? Never mind the fact that the teams of opposition researchers have yet to produce any evidence that Obama witnessed any of Wright's critiques of America. If that tells us anything, what does August 30th, 1993 tell us? On that day, McCain attended a fundraiser for the Oregon Citizens Alliance. He can't claim he wasn't warned. Going in, 30 protesters picketed him for endorsing the anti-gay group. Prior to McCain's appearance there, a Republican senator, a colleague of his, Mark Hatfield, warned Senator McCain not to do it. McCain's own staffers called it the invitation from hell, the Oregonian newspaper reported. An Arizona newspaper column previewed the speech with this headline, quote, "Hate group finds friend in McCain." And yet McCain went, sat silently, offered no rebuke during or after the remarks by this woman, Marilyn Shannon, who praised a local woman who had just shot a doctor less than 2 weeks earlier. A doctor who was a former Navy flight surgeon, a sonogram pioneer, was shot in both arms because he performed legal abortions. Unlike Ayers, who did not endorse terrorist activities during his meetings with Obama, this woman, Shannon, said of the shooter as McCain sat there, quote, "She's a fine lady." A judge who later sentenced this fine lady for a campaign of, yes, bombing women's clinics, said, quote, "Though I am loath to call anyone a terrorist, you are a terrorist." And Marilyn Shannon, who defended that terrorist, who later said her praise did not mean she approves of others doing what that terrorist did, as McCain renounced her even. She was a Bush delegate in 2004, seen here with a Purple Heart bandage, mocking American combat veteran John Kerry. This year, last month, she was a delegate for John McCain. Judgment and character.
He said the point of all of this, we are looking forward to turning the page on this financial crisis, getting back to discussing Mr. Obama personally. Turning the page on this financial crisis?
Diane, I actually listened in on that conference call. I don't make all of...
It's not so much what I heard in the Republican convention when you heard John speak last night, or not so much what I heard when I heard part of what the governor had to say, the vice presidential candidate. It's what I didn't hear. The silence of the Republican Party was deafening. It was deafening on jobs, on health care, on environment, on all the things that matter to the people in the neighborhoods I grew up in. Deafening. Ladies and gentlemen, their America is not the America I live in. They see something different than I see. Deafening once again. You didn't hear John mention the words middle class one single time again after the second debate. And more importantly, the questions from the people of that town hall last night, I personally believe, reflected what a majority of the American people are looking for. A steady hand, leadership, an optimist, not an angry man lurching from one position to another. They're looking for answers. The American people are looking for answers. How to deal with the jobs that are being lost in this economy, their jobs, the lack of affordable health care that affects their kids, their husbands, wives. Ladies and gentlemen, the retirement security they see literally vanishing before their very eyes. And maybe equally as important, in my view, how and when to use our power abroad. That's what you didn't hear from those folks. You didn't hear a single question about the ugly inferences and the unbecoming personal attacks launched by the McCain campaign on Barack Obama. You didn't hear one single average person ask that. Barack Obama showed again last night that he understands. He understands that these debates aren't about Governor Palin and me. They aren't about Barack Obama and John McCain. These debates, this election, is about you, not us.
Now.
Our economy, I think, still, the fundamentals of our economy are strong. The fundamentals of our economy are strong. The fundamentals of our economy are strong.
He said,
our economy, I think, still, the fundamentals of our economy are strong, but these are very, very difficult times.
Obama pounced.
Senator McCain, what economy are you talking about?